Hi, Professor. It's basically just the front of my computer. Um, this is the easiest way to record, I think, and it does a not a bad job of recording. So, me and my wife are been watching some videos, and we watched the beginning, some of the ones in week 2, and week 3, I think.
Hmm.
We've watched read, well, listened to the audio of the history of indigenous peoples. We listened to that together and listened to some of their there together and watched lots of TED Talks together for indigenous studies. So recently we just watched the TED Talk about language
Hmm.
and about how native languages or indigenous languages are disappearing, which I learned that in linguistics recently when I learned about place names and read the book about place names in Western Apache. Um, so, how do you feel about what you've learned, wife?
Um, I think for me there was a lot that I didn't know, so I was surprised by quite a bit of the things in your class, and I'm just kind of baffled as to why this isn't more common knowledge, or is it common knowledge and we just choose to turn the other cheek, But some of the things, I mean, I really just didn't know.
Yeah, and that was something I talked about in my self-assessment. Was one of the questions was um, well, I forgot the exact question, but I answered it. How it was hard for me to like talk about something different in the discussions other than my surprise about how little I know and how ignorant that I feel about Native American studies. Because I think I'm a very culturally sensitive person, and I feel like I should have known more, and I didn't.
Oh, I mean, I don't I don't really see how we can know more when we're brought up in schools and stuff like that, right? And and our history of Native Americans is I feel like it's skewed, right, to one side, and so I think the things that we were learning about Native Americans were, hey, when we, of course, when the Pilgrims first landed and stuff like that, and there was like a partnership there, and that, as the Pilgrims and settlers started coming in, they started kind of funneling the indigenous people off of their lands and and things like that. And I think one of the most surprising things for me is that they're still doing that, but nobody knows. And history only teaches us what from I think Anglo-Saxon perspective, you know. And to watch some of the videos we did, like the one video with the kids, and they were talking about um, what happened to them in school, and what, like the holiday for Thanksgiving, and the other video that we watched, we watched that right before Thanksgiving, and
Yeah,
and that was really a oh my gosh, I don't know how I feel about this holiday anymore.
right.
That was like, wow, I don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving, knowing now what actually Thanksgiving was about. That's not,
Right, a day we want to celebrate in our
yeah,
family.
yeah, exactly.
So that's what we talked about over the Thanksgiving holiday. Um, we just decided that since we do share a son that's on holidays, that on the ones that he's here, we're going to maybe have it not exactly on Thanksgiving. And it will be a day that we remember what really happened, and a day where we remember how sacrifices had been made, not in particularly for some, but more of a genocide, I guess. That sacrifice is not the correct word. Genocide
Yeah.
has occurred, is still occurring, uh, on so many levels, and that Native Americans are still fighting for treaties. I was thrown. I couldn't believe that that's still a court battle. I just really, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around that. I didn't know. I really didn't know.
Yeah. Well, I think another thing for me is like, we've had so many cultures in the past, and that have, just disappeared, like Mayans and cultures like that and such. So I just wonder about for indigenous people, because when we watch the videos about language, and the one video where they're down to like 45 people that can speak the language. That that's basically your heritage, who you are as a people, your identity, that's threatening to be gone. And the meanings behind the language, not just the words itself, but what the words actually represent. As that one video showed about, my every breath. What was it? Something like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah. So that's really sad to know that we have a culture that.
it's so beautiful. I mean, so beautiful. Um, and I really, I don't know. I dig that. I dig how beautiful it is.
Yeah, I do too. I just wish that because we're led to believe that okay, well, they live on reservations, they got it made, they can go to school. This whole picture is painted like
But
it's
that's probably been the picture that's been painted
for
since the boarding schools started,
right.
and it's still carrying on, and people still believe it.
Well, because nobody's telling anyone any different. I mean, okay, I'll say from the government, that, and and unless you're in a class like like this, you don't really truly understand everything that's happened and everything that's gone on.
But I
You
mean,
wouldn't have a clue unless somehow you got connected where you watch one of these TED Talks, or someone that you just wouldn't know that information.
right. And I will say, throughout the course, there were um, so many things to read, so many things to listen to, so many ways to immerse yourself in Native American culture, and I really appreciated that as a student. But I think, um, just to learn so much, and to immerse yourself in a culture is a way that you learn about a culture. And so that I love that that's kind of what happened with this course. We were immersed in it. So we kind of like read it and listened to it and watched it. So all of our senses were involved in this experience of indigenous peoples. And to me, that was really, special. I mean, I feel very grateful for this class and for everything that I've learned, and everything that I'm going to carry with me. And I mean, like we've talked about, I mean, I really still hope that one day, we can help to make a difference. And I would love to work with indigenous people, because I think that it's, a worthy cause and something that we should do. I mean, I know that I have Native American, ancestry. I'm sure you do, because you're Hispanic like I am,
Hmm.
and Mexicans. We are, part Native American or indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. I would, I mean, I would love to see a world where it is the way it's like the words that we are learning, about the connections that we're learning and we learn from the TED Talks. And I mean, we teach our son before he picks a flower to ask the plant if it's okay.
Yeah.
So when she was talking about the word water and how it means to ask,
Yeah.
I thought, wow, we've been trying to incorporate those kinds of respect for life in our home and our family. I mean that's something we believe in,
Yeah.
and we're trying to teach our son that, and that's the other reason I think that what I'm learning is so important, because it's something that's so close to my heart and my spirit. um, what do you think about that?
Yeah. I was thinking that that's. I think a lot of the values that in some of the videos about taking care of Mother Earth and conservation, just not destroying things as we go along, but living with things, living with the earth and the animals, and to have equal respect for that. That's, I think that's what we miss in a lot of cultures, especially you know um Caucasian culture, because really I've it
Well,
it's more like big money.
it's basically that concept that she was talking about owning
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, if there's no concept of owning, and well, I mean, things, I mean, they're things, and land is, it's not land, it's a place where you are connected to. It's a part of your blood, and it's a part of your being, and everything around you. And that's what we were learning with the place names, and how
Hmm.
it's a part of their language, their culture. I mean, this part of the land is a part of them, and I understood that so well, because when I lived in Livingston, and we've talked about how I felt so close to the land, because I was on 5 acres and I
Hmm.
was in the middle of the woods, and you had this a very similar experience in Spokane
Hmm.
and living in the woods,
Hmm.
and what that means to be that close to
Nature.
earth and nature, and there's nothing like that. There's nothing that can like penetrate that experience of being one with the earth, and what that means. And when you're meditating and you're being um near the plants, and I don't know, I just thought it was an experience that I will cherish my entire life, and one day I would love to live in the woods again. And
Except for this time, maybe in Snoqualmie.
so
Well, one thing I'll say for sure is that you know, I will most definitely in conversations whenever I have the opportunity to kind of educate people, will certainly educate people about what I've learned through this. And I talk to a lot of people daily. My profession is a social worker, and so that whole social justice thing is huge for me. So, and education, and so